Welcome. I'm Laura Schaff, and I'm here with Aaron Lundberg, who's a candidate for school director for the Erie Public Schools. Aaron, welcome.
It's good to be here, Laura. Thanks for having me.
So, Aaron, why don't you start out just telling us a little bit about yourself?
So I was born and raised in Erie, lived in Mill Creek, and I attended Mill Creek schools. But when I eventually got married, my wife and I decided to settle down in Erie because we felt that Erie School District would best represent the work environment that our children would eventually work in. Speaking of my kids, I have 4 children. They attend Jefferson, Wilson, and Collegiate in the city, and we're about to head into the world of graduations. I also work locally for a church that has multiple locations, supports a nonprofit, and is now launching a leadership institute.
So you have been involved in a lot of volunteer work for the schools. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, like most parents, I started by serving on PTOs and also working with Title I parent advisory groups when those times were needed. But I've also participated in taking care of the landscaping, helping to, edge the sidewalks, plant bushes, trim the shrubs, do whatever I can to continue to help keep the beautification, if you will, of the schools up while I live close by, and I'm just doing that for myself. Along with that, I've been on the superintendent's advisory panel in the past, and that has led to also being a part of the larger group that helped put together the strategic plan for Erie's public schools.
So it seems like all of that work has brought you to today and running for school director. What are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish?
Well, I have lots of goals, but I'm going to talk about 3 focuses that I have coming up here. One, first, is I want to just continue to focus on innovation and what that looks like. And we're at a time in our world where we kind of have a little bit more leeway to innovate. We can get really creative with the way things are happening in the world and how communities and how the teachers, students, the communities can partner best with administration to make that happen and to work well together. And that also includes innovation that's going to come with items like COVID. And I want to be able to see how we can all work together for the benefit and betterment of the students. And so I see that happen in small ways, like in a little garden at each of the elementary schools that some community members or some of the high school teachers and students help make happen. And now we have parents and families tending to those gardens and being able to bring some vegetables home. And there's a lot of bigger things that I think can come of that idea. But the idea is that we have an opportunity to use our trades, to use some of the grants and different funding that's coming in to work well together for new innovation ideas of how we can all best work together.
Any other big ideas or any other things that you're focused on?
I'm glad you asked. And so in an effort to continue to not stay siloed, I think that as we work well with this enhancement plan from the strategic plan, that we can reinforce and enhance the standards that we have for education and curriculum, and not just for a certain select few, but how we can address all unique opportunities and situations in our city. We have a lot of those, and we need to be very creative and make sure that we're attending to everyone as best as we can. And I firmly believe, because I helped form it, that the strategic plan is a solution to do that. And 3, I want to elevate the standards of our buildings and our programs. And when I talk to parents and community members and even a lot of our students and teachers, I hear about that. We have some buildings and some programs, extracurricular programs, that need some attention. And what I mean is, I think if we present a less than opportunistic or appropriate look for our students and even our teachers when they walk into the schools, whether it's the exterior or interior, we want to be doing a better job of presenting excellence in a better way that also matches the high standards of excellence that we have for our students when they are coming in. And so we want to care for the property, we want to care for the building, we want to make sure that we show that ownership. We don't just want to ask kids to be tucking their shirts in and be on time for class when they come in. We want to match that message outside with the representation and expectations that we have of ourselves. And that goes for our extracurricular programs as well. And I don't mean just sporting programs. I mean, any of the extracurricular programs that we offer, we want to make sure that we're finding that right balance of, I think there's a magic space of where we're providing enough things and the right things and doing the ones that we provide extremely well, instead of just going, oh, we're going to do all this, we're going to keep adding this back in and do some subpar. For example, it's a struggle for me to watch my son run on a dirt track for practice for track and field. And so what can we do with that? And I know that there's going to be a lot of conversations with that, but I think we can really put some attention there.
Great. So, Aaron, to that way of thinking, there's a lot of money now coming into the school
Yes.
district, into the city as well, because we're coming out of a pandemic. Superintendent Polito has talked about how that money is going to be spent. What are your thoughts about that? I mean, do you support his views on, investing in kids coming out of this pandemic, ventilation in the schools, or do you think that money should be used differently?
Yeah, I think first of all, I want to commend Superintendent Polito and the school board for what they've done so far. As a leader of a large organization, it's been a very tough year to lead, and so I want to commend them for that. They've made hard decisions. For the most part, kids and everyone, all the families and community has benefited well as best as possible in a tough situation. I believe that because of how crazy the last year has been, that first and foremost, this money should go to the mental and social well-being of our students. And I think that that's a largely agreed upon idea in the community. This goes with, these students, and many students in different ways, are very affected by what has happened this past year. We as adults have been affected by that. And so of course this would be true for kids. And so we're talking, that starts with mental health professionals in the building, the community partners that we have. And we've been doing a lot of good programs there, but also trainings and education for the students and how to process some of this, as well as training for teachers and administration. But I will continue to go back to, this also speaks to the physical presence of our buildings and how we can enhance them to bring a encouraging and vital learning environment that these kids can be excited about learning in, instead of walking in and it's just, oh, I'm at school again and things are so tough. That we can it's going to be hard for us to completely emulate an Erie Insurance type building of what employees at Erie Insurance walk into, but we want our kids and our teachers walking into an environment that is exciting for them to learn in and experience education in, that will cause them to thrive.
So Aaron, there are a lot of candidates running for school director this time around.
There are.
What makes you qualified for this job?
So first and foremost, I'm a parent, and I have 4 students who are going through the district and their schools. But I have experience in a large organization with both paid and lots of volunteers. That includes construction projects, that includes budgets, that includes the navigating of, how shall I say, people that have really good thoughts and opinions, and you have to kind of navigate that to work well and start to bring all those ideas together. This is what I do naturally. I bring all those ideas together for the betterment of the decision that needs to be made, and I should say the decision that needs to be made for the whole. And I've been doing that for 15 years. I've been leading large organizations, and I think that that will bring a level of a mind that will help in that.
Anything else you want to talk about in terms of your skill set? Anything else that you bring to the table?
Well, I believe, Laura, that we are in a moment of great momentum for the Erie Public School District. And again, we're coming out of momentum, but we also have a new wave of momentum coming. And finishing out this strategic plan well, I think, is very vital. And for a while, we have been siloed a little bit. And so this is why I call our campaign Together with Aaron. And so we are taking students, we are taking teachers, we are taking families, and we are working with community members to figure out what is the best way to attend to every need that every student and every unique situation has at the Erie School District, and work well with administration to make that happen. And so we've got to continue to get away from the loudest talkers always winning and the best decision being made for our students. And that's what we're going to do, and that's why I'm asking for your vote for Erie's Public School.
And Aaron, where can voters find you on the ballot?
You can find me on the ballot in position 5 on both, I'm cross-filed. And if you want any more information, you can always go to togetherwithaaron.com. That's togetherwithaaron.com. And I hope that you will join me and be together with us.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks for your time. And thank you all for being here today.
Thank you.